Good morning, traders. We are back. We are live. This is Tuesday, October 23rd here. Didn't trade yesterday. As I stated Friday, I wasn't going to be here Monday. Some business to take care of. So there was no trades yesterday. But Friday, I took my first trade was a winning trade. Let me see if I still have the log for it, the trade log here. Let's see. All right, so it was three trades actually Friday. Um, I'm pulling it up here. Let me take my account number out of there. So anyway, I took three trades Friday. This was Friday, but the trade log still shows them. Um, First trade was on CNET, which, as I said, was a profit. That was at 9:12 in the morning. I can go to it here. Let's see. It's, 9:12. So that was pre-market. I took the trade. I seen strength in it. Therefore, I jumped in. I jumped in at 321 at 9:12. This isn't right here. No, I jumped in at 371 at 9:12. 371. That's near this area here. Um, it's my fault for not holding it. I could have held it for a lot longer, but as always, easier to say after the fact. But anyway, jumped in at 371, jumped out at 380 for a 9 cent profit. Um, that's something I have to work on is holding the winners. I just continue to struggle with that. I just see profit, and I guess it's the fact that I know how quickly sometimes these stocks have turned around on me. But with my strategy I have now, they normally go a lot longer, one way or the other, whether to the short side or to the long side, because I'm trying to only pick A plus setups anyway. So if you're picking an A1, if I'm picking an A1 setup, then it should run, a good 20, 30, 40, 50 cent at least. Only time it should go any less than that is if it's not an A plus setup. So I got to keep that in mind. If I'm jumping in these stocks and I know it's an A setup, I need to hold it because I missed a lot of this move. You see, I jumped out way too early, 380, and this thing went all the way up to. Actually, I think it went even further than this. Yeah, it went up to 426. So that was 46 cent. But it's always easy to say hindsight what you could have done, would have done. But I do know I need to hold longer because see what that would have did, that would have nullified the loss I had on AVXL. But as you can see, I fat fingered, man. I don't like to go into any stock with this much size with this small of an account because I'm not, it's not. I'm not Steven. I'm not Ross Cameron here, where I know, that I can go in full size and capture a full move. So anyway, yeah, I fat fingered this. I got out as soon as I realized. Let's see, AVXL, and that was Friday. What was it? 19th. That was yeah, Friday the 19th. No, I'm not trying to do that. Yeah, this trade was a busted trade. I knew it was gonna go short, but what happened was actually I got in originally. Um, at 934 short at 290 with 200 shares. Uh, no, this is way back. This is the right day. Yeah, this is the day. So yeah, I got in at 290 a little after the bell, and this candle here, I got in at 290 and looking for the breakdown. But what happened was actually I was in a green, as you can see. I got in the trade at I got it in at 3 at 2. I got it in at the price of 290 at 9:34 a.m. So you can see here, this is the candle, but you see it did go down. It did go down, but it went down 5 cent. But what happened was, I should I seen a lot of selling going on at this 285, but it would not break. I mean, it's not showing from the candles here, but the time it sells, it was just all green. I mean, all red, all red, all red. But it and level two shows there's only one share or 10 shares left to sell. But that means hidden sellers. When you see that, when you see the time in the level two displaying something different than what the action is showing, then that is a sign of hidden sellers or hidden buyers, depending on what side of the level two you're looking at, the bid or the ask. But there's someone hidden, or some institution, or someone, or market maker is just absorbing all of the shares you're trying to sell or either buy on the ask side. On the bid side, the shares you're trying to sell is getting just eaten up. You can see it says here, like, for I'm just gonna show you this chart here, how it says, I mean, this level two for NIU here. See how it has just one. That usually is that's followed by two zeros after. So whatever number you see here, just add two zeros. So that's 100 shares to sell. Just like this is 50, but that means add two more zeros, so it's 5,000 shares available to be sold at 908. But anyway, say you see this one, and then you see a whole lot of, selling to the person at 770. So if it was only 100 shares, then after one of these 100 share blocks goes through, it should go down to 769 or whatever the next bidder, however high the next bidder is, whether that's 768, 752, whatever. It should drop down to that. But when you see it has the one, as meaning 100 shares, someone's willing to buy 100 shares at $7.70, and then the seller say, you know what, I'll take you at that price. Well, someone takes it for the 100 shares, and they sell 100 shares to the buyer, but it doesn't move. That's logically speaking, then that you know that it means there's something else going on behind the scenes there. So anyway, back to the trade. Uh, that's what happened here at the 285 area. And as the day went on, I see it's confirmed that that area is very is someone is really eating it up there. Because as you can see here, it stopped here, it jumped back up. This is where I got in. I fat fingered in here. I don't know how I got this many shares, but I got to change my hotkeys. I used to have it at 100%, but I need to cap it off at 500. So no matter what key I hit, I don't go over 500 shares. But anyway, as you can see, that's what happened, and that's why I'm back to 566. I was at 695, but after losing 129 with after commissions and everything, I think the gross was $85. The gross was negative $85, but with commissions and everything, it was 129. And that's as a result of this. So be careful with learn from me. Be careful with your share size, especially with a small account. We can't afford to lose. We can't afford any losses really. And if we're gonna have a loss, it has to be small, and that's very hard to do if you're gonna use 1,000 shares or higher. You know what I mean? 10 cents is $100. If a stock goes down 10 cents, that's $100 if you had 1,000 shares. So if you got an account size of this size, that one trade can wipe you out. So you have to be aware of not only the trades you're making, but the share size, the risk management, the how much are you risking, how many cents are you risking, and those types of things. But back to this here, you can see as time went on, see this 285, it just would not break. I mean, it was stubborn all day long. So it'll get there, and it'll be a lot of selling on it. It will be a lot of red, a lot of time it sells, a lot of red going on the time it sells. It just wouldn't break it. You can see here. So that's where I should have got out. I would have had a little profit there. So I would have been two for two, even though it would have been not for much. But I was over $700 until I took this silly trade here and for this much. So anyway, that's the recap for Friday. Um, got a couple stocks running today. TRPX is a former runner as well. But keep in mind, this is another one of those stocks with the what I call antenna candlesticks or the antenna patterns here. So that the history of this stock shows and tells you that it will run and it can run and it can run high. It can run. This one went from 622 to $3, over $3 in one. But keep in mind, it almost always 99% of the time it may open up with a pop, but as you can see, candles like these let you know that it won't sustain. It's not going to be a YECO type of stock or a PTI where they just run all day and close high. These stocks here, they'll open high, and usually this happens within the first hour right here where it comes back down, and then it just stays that way the rest of the day. So you'll get a quick pop at the open, and then selling off the rest of the day, and that's what you see here. So just keep that in mind when going long on TRPX. But it is, it's definitely opportunity in it. If you're very good at what you're doing, you can capitalize on the spike and just sell it as quickly as possible for a profit. Let's see what else is going on here. But yeah, man, it's the last full week of the month. It is earnings seasons. So that brings, honestly, from my experience, that let me reset this. That brings momentum to the higher cap stocks. From my experience, I used to think that it really affected the small cap stocks. I thought that as a whole, the whole market, reacts to it. But what I've noticed, honestly, over the last year and a half or two or however long, is that it affects the larger caps. Smaller ones. These right now are taking off because of the catalyst last week, which was YECO. Anytime you have a runner, a runner that runs hard, it usually starts a chain reaction, so to speak, or it usually is the trailblazing stock that just it's the catalyst to start other stocks to running. So YCO last week was the one that started all of these other smaller caps. So that's why the small caps are going off now. As Ross would say, he calls it sympathy momentum. Um, I mean, I would just call it, just other stocks following along or people jumping at anything that they see after that, after missing or even being a part of that first stock. So anyway, this momentum is still carrying on from that. That's why you see the smalls moving. But if it wasn't for that, usually the smalls slow down during earning seasons. Um, the large caps move around obviously because they're the ones reporting, and so to speak, you'll see those moving. Um, but yeah. But anyway, right now we got a couple things going on. Ford, I'm looking at Ford just as a longer term play, but I have to do some research on this one. That's for long term because I mean it's down there for it to be Ford, and I got to check the financials. But it's usually a reason. So you can't just look at a stock and say, oh, I believe in this company, and wow, it's at a low price. I gotta just grab it up because I know this company. No, you can't do that. You can't do that, but that's just like the lottery. But you gotta understand it probably was a reason that it's so low. But at the same time, you still can get a value stock too. So it's something I would do a little research on and probably just jump in for a long term. Just drop and go type thing. Drop my money in it and go. Just leave. Don't think about it for a couple years. Uh, but I'll have to see. That I'm not basing any of this on technicals. This is all just hearsay speculation. If I base it on technicals, I'll have to do some analysis here. It'll have to get over a certain point for me to get in. But anyway, back to the spill. Uh, but let's see what else is going on here today. MBV selling off this morning. Right now, that looks like the trend. As to be honest with you, right now, it's just a lot of selling off. And I actually had to leave after this trade on Friday. I had some stuff to do, so I didn't. Let me actually see. Did it ever break the 85? Yeah, it did. And see what happened. See, 85 was so strong that as soon as it broke, it was pretty much a wrap after that. That was a key area to look at. Key area to keep an eye on if you're wanting to go short here. Because after that, it was nothing else to hold it. And even until the next day, it went down. Yep. So that was my first time actually seeing it since Friday as well. Let's see what if we can find some action here. Yeah, right now the overall sentiment is down. Let me take a look at the SPY. Yep, everything is down right now. So be careful, longs. Just keep an eye on and understand that the market as a whole is bearish for today. Thus far, I'm saying thus far because it could change at any minute. But just keep that in mind for the moment when going long or thinking about going long. Because what I'm starting to realize after long observation, long time of observing, is and this is stuff that some of the gurus already know, but I'm learning it now. I'm seeing it for myself. I used to hear them talk about it, but I'm actually, it's nothing better than you learning the stuff you're on your own. Not learning on your own. You get a jump start from those guys, but to actually basically get the experience. That's bottom line. Experience is the best teacher in the world from my experience in just everyday life and anything in life. Experience is the best. You can read all day. You can read books. You can read articles. That's good. It helps sharpen your mind. Because I read a lot. Um, you can read. You can listen to other people or take advice, and all of that is good. But nothing trumps experience. Just keep that in mind when you're doing. If you're doing this trading, it's definitely good, man, to get great advice from those who've been here before you and who knows this stuff way better. Definitely, that'll help save you so much time. That'll fast track your learning. Because that's if I would have got done that, oh man, I wouldn't have lost all the money I've lost thus far. So definitely do that. But at the same time, be getting the experience as well because no, nothing is better than experience because you'll know things or you'll see things that you wouldn't have seen before. You'll realize things that you probably wouldn't have realized without the screen time, without actually watching this stuff over and over. So that's what I've realized in my time is if the market is overall bearish, even if you see a move to the upside, it usually is not going to sustain. So you can always profit on any move. You know, a move that goes up a couple of cents or a move that goes down a couple of cents. There's always room to profit. But some stocks move randomly. I was just listening to a podcast last night actually, and a gentleman, Corey Hoang, he does algorithmic trading. But he was basically stating that a lot of stocks move randomly. They don't have any clear direction or patterns. Those are the stocks you want to stay away from. And it makes sense because you have some of these stocks, it has no rhyme or reason. Sometimes you look at them, and I'm quite sure we've all been through it. We think we have strategies set up good and nice, but the stock just does not adhere to anything that we thought we have analyzed and done research on, um, and stuff of that nature. Yeah, this thing is jumping up, but that doesn't mean it's gonna continue up. But let's take a look here. I'm studying sitting here talking. I could have been looking for a trade. It is after 8 o'clock. On with Sure Trader, you can start trading at 8 o'clock and beyond, 8 o'clock a.m. and beyond, whatever your time zone is. It may be 8 o'clock Eastern, so that means you may can start trading at 7 Central and 6 on the West Coast. I'm not sure, but let's take a look here, see what's going on. But anyway, yep. Um, yeah, it was talking about some stocks just move randomly with no true logic, and you can find them, and that makes sense. And I'm actually gonna do a little research on his theory on that, on his research on it. And then some stocks does move in a certain pattern. Example, we just talked about one TRPX. It moves in a certain pattern, meaning it jumps up, comes down, jumps up. This is a well-known pattern here and easily spotted here. So these stocks have a certain behavior that you must understand in the macro sense, not the micro, in the macro sense. And then from there you break it down to micro and trade accordingly to the behavior of that stock. If the stock is known to go up and stay up, like say for instance, instead of it having these antennas, it actually always closes near or at the high. Then that's a stock what I would say if it does has a history of that, then if it starts to take off, I would just you have a better chance of getting in and just riding it up. But if it has a history of doing this, coming down, going up, coming down, going up, coming down, then you don't hold it like that. Cause see, this is that pattern here. This is that pattern, but it's just pre-market, so it's not showing on the chart yet. But this right here is that exact same pattern here. Jump up very high from like what $5 area to 11.70, but then come back to $6. I mean 6.63 or 6.60. That's just crazy. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, guys, not gonna ramble on here. That's it for me talking today. You're gonna see the screen for the stream for a little bit here, probably till 8:30, and I'm gonna shut it down. If I make a trade today during pre-market here, you'll see it live. But if there's no opportunities here that I like, then and if I take one after the bell, I'll do a recap uh, tomorrow. Sorry, tomorrow morning. You'll get that recap just like you got today's recap. All right. Um, Goal for the day. Obviously, don't make any fat finger trades like yesterday. Um, and yep, just stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Don't take any trades outside of that plan. Um, Adhere to it strictly and consistently, and that's the only way I think I can become consistent, or anyone can become consistent. You have to. How else? I feel like how else can we become consistent if we're not consistent? I know that sounds kind of obvious, but think about what I'm saying. How can we become consistent in our gains if we're not consistent in our strategies and our approach? Think about that. So if you're if some days you do one thing and the next day you do a whole nother strategy because yours is not working that day or you don't see your pattern and you're just switching up, going with the flow, going with the wind, then how can our gains and how can our results be consistent? So I got to keep that in mind as well. Like, okay, it may get boring, but hey, I think someone I heard that too somewhere. Say boring, you're onto something when your trade strategy gets boring. Um, you're gonna always have fun trading. Obviously, I have fun waking up. I love waking up to do it. But you're on to something when you're basically getting monotonous. Basically, it's like you're doing the exact same thing day in, day out, but it's consistent. Whatever you're doing is consistent. You're doing it consistently. So, um, yep, that's the word in the lesson for today is stay consistent with whatever your strategy is. Don't deviate from it for any reason, and you will see consistent results. Whether that's wins or losses, you'll see consistent results. All right, take care, guys. I'm gonna cut the mic off, and if you have any questions, leave them in a chat. You can leave them in the chat here, or if you catch this video later on, you can leave it in the comment section, or you can email me at mrwalker954 at gmail.com. MRWALKER 954 at gmail.com if you have any other questions. All right, I'm going to shut the mic off. And if I make any trades, you'll see them live. If I make them after the pre market, you'll see the recap tomorrow.